Victor's plans throw Adam for a loop, and Jack confronts Patty. At the club, Victor gives Adam and Nick an update on Nikki. Adam mentions Chelsea wants to stop by with lemon bars. They tell him she needs rest right now. Nick wonders if this will help his parents find their way back to each other. Adam tries asking what's next for him now that Newman Media doesn't exist, but Victor puts him off and announces that he's appointed Victoria to head up their company. Nick doesn't get it. He thought that he would go back to running the company with Victoria. He argues, but Victor won't budge. Give it a few months. Nikki's new normal. At the ranch, Victoria leads Nikki around the living room, counting steps. Her mom is snippy over not being able to see. Victoria says she'll move in to help her until the bandages come off. Victoria understands why her mom is sleeping on the ground floor, but hopes she'll end up back in bed with her father. Nikki sniffs that she and Victor haven't talked about anything other than her condition. She admits she feels safe when he's close by, but that won't erase their issues. Victoria thinks he wants to resolve the conflict. Shocking announcement number 1. Victoria joins her brother and father at the club, where Nick informs her that she's in charge of Newman by herself. Apparently he can't handle it. Adam still doesn't know where he fits in, though he and Chelsea have come up with a solution. They want to pull Kane's old company out of the ashes and revitalize it. Victor grunts. It's not possible. Arabesque is now controlled by Phyllis. They're flummoxed when he says, I gave it to her. Back at the ranch, Nikki tries navigating the living room on her own, calling out repeatedly for Victoria. She successfully finds a couch and sits down. In the hospital, Diane gasps, my heart, as Kyle carries her and screams for help. A nurse helps get Diane on a stretcher and examines her as Tracy appears, gasping as Kyle gives her the details about Patty. A doctor comes along and announces Diane needs blood work. Tracy reports that Jack is awake. Diane urges him to go be with Jack. As Diane's wheeled off, Kyle and Tracy join Jack. Kyle is flooded with relief when his dad opens his eyes. Jack demands to make a statement incriminating Patty. He doesn't want Diane to suffer. Kyle, exchanging a look with Tracy, tells him that Patty came back to inject something into his fore and is in police custody. Meanwhile, Patty's being led up the hospital corridor in cuffs by the security guard and Detective Burrow. In Jack's room, they hear a commotion outside the door and a man yells, Hey, what the hell? Tracy runs out and discovers that Patty tried biting the security guard's cheek. Tracy confronts Patty, who tells her to save the sermon for someone who cares. Kyle asks what she injected into his mother. Jack bellows that he wants to see Patty, who grins. They lead her into his room. Jack says he'll see her in court. She gushes that she'll love him forever. Jack grits, this is over. You are not bringing Diane down. Patty purrs, maybe I already have. Jack bellows, demanding to know what that means. When he grimaces, they take Patty out, saying, Till we meet again, Jack, as she goes. As Jack asks what's happened to Diane, Ashley bursts in. At home, Billy and Sally hug. He tells her that Jill just left. They got into it more than usual. He's thinking about trying to heal the rift for good, partly because of what happened with his mom, and partly because of Jack. Jill asked him to come to London. Sally assures him that she and Little Bump will be fine. Billy gets on the phone to let Jill know that he'll accompany her to London. He cuts it short when Tracy calls with an update that Jack is awake. He tells Sally, maybe things are finally looking up for the Abbotts. Evil. Back at the hospital, Ashley wants to know everything that's happened. Kyle is summoned out by the nurse, and Tracy goes with him. Jack tells Ashley he thinks something happened to Diane. In the hall, Kyle and Tracy learn that Diane was injected with a massive dose of Digitalis, which can cause a heart attack, but she's fine and can go home soon. They rejoin Ashley and Jack, who demands an explanation. Kyle tells him that not only did Patty try to finish him off, but she nearly killed Diane too. Kyle relays the details, and Ashley hisses that Patty is evil. Kyle tells them about the chase and Patty stabbing Diane in the neck. Jack exclaims Diane could have died. He won't rest until he sees with his own eyes that she's all right. Billy joins the party and tells Jack he gave them quite the scare. Kyle goes to check on Diane, so Billy gets the update on Patty's attack and tells Jack how awful it was waiting for him to wake up. The sisters tease that he's back to bossing everyone around. Jack hopes it's not too late for him and Diane after everything that's happened. At the club, Victor's kids are stunned to hear that he gave Phyllis Arabesque because he admired what she did, and she also helped save Nick's life. Ignoring their reactions, Victor says they got Newman back and everything else is peripheral. Adam barks, "Even me?" Does he have a consolation prize for the black sheep of the family? Victor nearly gives Adam a hernia when he declares that they're going after Spectre Charles. Once they have that, he'll get back Newman Media. Adam's gobsmacked. He doesn't want to go after Sally. He's hurt her enough and she's pregnant. He won't be part of a hostile takeover. Victor complains that Phyllis gave NM to Billy, not Sally. They'll get it back from him. At the ranch, Nikki gets an employee named Laura to help find her phone, lamenting that getting around is harder than she thought it would be. Nikki wants to try getting to her room and counts her steps as the woman hovers. At the hospital, Tracy reminds Jack that Diane just risked her life fighting for him. Ash assures him she'll come back to him. Billy agrees. Jack just wants to know that she's okay. At that moment, Cal brings her in. Left alone, Diane and Jack both cry as he asks if they're okay. Diane's relieved to hear that Patty's at the police station. Moving closer, she asks if he's in pain. Jack says his heart hurts the most. She cries, same. Jack chokes, "I'm sorry I hurt you." Diane loves him and never stopped. She sobs over seeing him bloodied on the dining room floor. She couldn't picture life without him and wants the rest of her life with him. Boardroom. They kiss. Fell silent the moment Vincent Carlisle stepped inside. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. Years of building an international empire had taught everyone in the room that the quietest moments were often the most dangerous. Executives exchanged nervous glances while Vincent took his seat at the head of the polished walnut table, folded his hands, and offered the faintest smile. Across from him sat his ambitious son, Adrian. Adrian believed today would be the day his father finally approved his proposal to acquire one of the company's biggest rivals. He had spent months preparing financial models, negotiating with investors, and convincing the board that aggressive expansion was the future. He had no idea Vincent had entirely different plans. "Ladies and gentlemen," Vincent began, "I've reviewed every recommendation." Adrian straightened confidently. "I've decided not to proceed with the acquisition." The words landed like thunder. Every face around the table froze. Adrian blinked. "I'm sorry, what?" Vincent calmly slid a folder across the table. "We're selling 3 divisions instead." Confused murmurs erupted around the room. Selling? That made no sense. The divisions generated reliable profits and gave the company leverage in several international markets. Adrian quickly flipped through the documents. His expression shifted from confusion to disbelief. "You can't be serious." "Oh, I assure you," Vincent replied. "I'm very serious." Adrian leaned forward. "This destroys everything we've spent months building." Vincent's eyes never left his son's. "No. It exposes everything you failed to see." The room became painfully quiet. Vincent stood and walked toward the massive windows overlooking the city skyline. "You've been chasing size." He turned. "I've been protecting strength." He explained that the divisions being sold had become increasingly vulnerable to supply chain disruptions, political instability, and hidden regulatory risks. The profits looked impressive on paper. The future did not. Adrian stared at the financial projections. For the first time, he noticed details he had overlooked. Several international contracts would expire within a year. Insurance costs had doubled. Critical suppliers were already seeking new partnerships. Vincent had seen the danger months before anyone else. "You knew," Adrian whispered. "I always know where the storm is forming." "But why didn't you tell me?" Vincent smiled. "Because you weren't asking the right questions." The meeting ended without another word. Adrian remained seated long after everyone else had left. His perfect strategy had unraveled in less than 20 minutes. Not because it was reckless, because his father had been thinking 3 moves ahead. Across town, another confrontation was brewing. James Lawson parked outside Patricia Bennett's apartment just as the evening rain began to fall. He had ignored her calls for nearly a week. Now he wanted answers. Patricia opened the door before he could knock. "I wondered when you'd come." James stepped inside. The apartment felt strangely empty. No television, no music, just silence. "You've been avoiding me," Patricia said. James crossed his arms. "No, I've been waiting." "For what?" "For you to decide whether you're going to tell me the truth." Her confident smile faded. "I don't know what you mean." James reached into his jacket pocket and placed a small envelope on the coffee table. Inside were photographs, bank records, emails, receipts. Patricia's face turned pale. "Where did you get these?" "It doesn't matter. It matters to me." "What matters to me," James replied, "is why you lied." She slowly sat down. The carefully constructed story she'd repeated for months suddenly seemed impossible to defend. James continued. "You said the investment failed because of market conditions." Silence. "You said everyone lost money." Still silence. "But these records show something different." Patricia looked away. "You transferred the money before the market ever dropped." She closed her eyes. James wasn't shouting. That somehow made the moment worse. "You planned this." Her voice trembled. "It wasn't supposed to happen like that. But it did. I was desperate. We all were." "No," Patricia whispered. "You don't understand." James looked at her carefully. "Then help me understand." For the first time in years, Patricia abandoned every excuse. She admitted she'd been drowning in debt long before anyone knew. Bad investments, medical bills for her father, interest payments that multiplied every month. When an opportunity appeared to quietly redirect company funds, she convinced herself she'd replace the money before anyone noticed. Then everything spiraled beyond her control. "I kept telling myself I could fix it." James nodded slowly. "Instead, I made everything worse." Rain tapped softly against the windows. Neither spoke for nearly a minute. Finally, James asked the question he'd carried with him all week. "Did you ever intend to tell me?" Patricia hesitated. "Every day, and every day. I lost my nerve." James sighed heavily. Trust wasn't shattered in one dramatic moment. It broke piece by piece, with every omission, every half-truth, every promise postponed until tomorrow. "I believed in you," he said quietly. "I know. I defended you. I know. And now I don't know who you are anymore." Those words hurt more than any accusation. Patricia wiped away a tear. "I don't expect forgiveness." James nodded. "Good." Another long silence settled between them. Outside, the rain finally began to ease. Inside, neither knew whether the damage could ever truly be repaired. Late that night, Adrian arrived unexpectedly at Vincent's estate. The older man was sitting on the terrace, reading beneath a warm lamp. Without looking up, Vincent said, "You're late." "You knew I'd come." "I was counting on it." Adrian sat opposite his father.